Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you very, very much for coming. Good morning and welcome to our all-party debate on Toronto Financial Services. My name is Janet Ecker and I'm president of the Toronto Financial Services Alliance, and I'll be your moderator today. This is the second such forum that we have done in partnership with our financial services associations. The first one took place before the last election. And if this is anything like the first one, I'm sure it will be informative, perhaps even a bit controversial, and we can hope entertaining. Although that maybe you ought to ask. We can hope entertaining at 8 o'clock in the morning. But I think today's turnout speaks for itself, and due to your response, we've had to move to the committee room as opposed to where we were originally going to go, Members Lounge, because we needed some more space. And thank you to the staff here at City Hall for being so accommodating and flexible today. Also, too, just in case anyone thinks I'm trying to send any subliminal messages through the color choice of our backdrop for today's event, I hasten to point out that this is City of Toronto blue. So just so we get that on the table. Today's attendance also serves to underline the importance of this sector's growth for the economic success of both the city and the province, actually, and the country. How important, you ask? Well, financial services is one of the biggest contributors to the city's economy, generating almost $1 out of 5, more than 230,000 people, 230,000 voters, are directly employed by this sector. 370,000 if you count the many people who support the industry, lawyers, accountants, IT professionals, and those that supply the industry, the educational institutions, for example, that we rely on for a steady flow of talented people prepared to work in our industry. Our group is a public-private partnership between our three governments and that financial services cluster. And our goal is to build Toronto as a sustainable global financial services hub. We've already cracked the top 10 in terms of global centers, but the competition to get and keep these good, well-paying jobs here and successful companies is fierce. We can't rest on our laurels. That's why we've come together today. As Ontario prepares to go to the polls, we want to highlight the importance of this sector for our economy and to underline the need to continue to do more to attract financial services jobs and investment here and to keep the ones that we already have. We've invited representatives of our three major parties to outline how they and their colleagues propose to work with this industry to attract, expand, and retain financial sector jobs, and we thank them very much for their interest and participation, not only at this ungodly hour for folks who are out campaigning till late at night, but for their interest in coming here. We have a series of questions concerning issues that impact success of the industry. Before I introduce our three panelists, I just want to quickly go over the format for today. They'll each have 2 minutes to make brief opening statements. After that, I will turn to representatives of our financial industry associations who are sitting around the table here to pose a question. Each of our panelists will have about 90 seconds, a minute and a half to answer. And also, for the benefit of the audience and any members of the media, there's a table just at the back you promised or you passed on your way in, where there's copies of the main themes and some information on the questions that are being asked today. So let me introduce our panelists in the order they will be speaking. We did the big official draw a few minutes ago to determine speaking order. And because this thing is so incredibly well organized, the speaking order ended up to be exactly the way they're sitting, just so easier for me. So I'd like to call, actually I'll introduce all three of them first. First of all, Mr. Rocco Rossi, to my immediate right, representing the Ontario PC Party. He's the former CEO of the Health and Stroke Foundation, and he's been nominated to be his party's candidate in Eglinton Lawrence. He's also been a strong promoter of growing the financial services sector, speaking out on this topic most recently during his run for the Mayor of Toronto. Our next speaker will be Michael Prue, representing the Ontario NDP. And as Mr. Bisson, Gilles Bisson, was originally going to attend and was not able to, so Mr. Prue has bravely stepped into the breach, but as a former finance critic, this shouldn't be a problem. He's seeking re-election as the MPP for Beaches East York, and as the former mayor of East York, he too is very familiar with the importance of this industry's strength for the city's employment. Finally, last but not least, we have Minister Sandra Pupatello representing the Ontario Liberal Party. She is currently the Minister of Economic Development and Trade and also the MPP for the riding of Windsor West, which she served since 1995. She's also been a strong promoter of both Ontario and its financial industry, participating in many of our business attraction events. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for our three candidates. Okay, so we will start then with Mr. Rossi. They have 2 minutes for opening statements, and I'm told the clocks on the wall, for all of us who have difficulty reading our watches, will be there to help us. I call on Mr. Rossi. Thank you very much.
My thanks, Janet, and good morning all, and my thanks to the TFSA and its member group for hosting this. It's an absolutely critical time to be talking about the economy in Ontario, and particularly in talking to one of the real engines of our economy, the financial services sector. The PC party is the party that believes in the potential of people and the potential of markets. I look out in this room and I see real economic results and even greater economic potential. Government shouldn't pick winners and losers. It should create the basic conditions necessary for the market to grow, and then it should double down on those that the market chooses as winners by helping with coordination, marketing, advocacy, and getting obstacles and red tape out of the way. Exactly the mandate of the TFSA. Very often getting out of the way is as important as intervening in the market, and our goal is to remove the barriers of growth for you. This is one of the key sectors to do it in. Ontario, as Janet has pointed out, is a global leader in finance. But we can do much more, and we have to do much more because everyone else is stepping up their game. We need to support an open market to drive our economy, not dead-end initiatives, highly subsidized jobs that don't last or generate less than the subsidies that are used to create them, and secret deals like the Samsung deal. These will end up costing taxpayers more money without creating long-term permanent jobs and without moving Ontario forward. A Tim Hudak government will work with you to create the conditions necessary for Toronto's financial services sector to continue to grow. You know what you need to do to grow. We need to unleash that. A PC government under Tim Hudak will be that kind of partner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rossi. We'd like to now call in Mr. Prue. I get that clock back up to 2 or 0. There we go. Who put him in charge of the timing? Oh my God.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for inviting me here today. And as you heard, I'm substituting for Gilles Bisson. When he called me yesterday and said he was stuck in Timmins, could I come here? He'd send me a few pages of documents to let me know. 46 pages arrived on the fax machine, and I read them all dutifully.
You still use a fax machine?
Yeah, we still use them. And this has been a very tough week for New Democrats, as you will all know. We spent a lot of time in mourning. We spent a lot of time in reflection about Jack Layton. And one of the things that he said in his manifesto rung true to me, and I hope to people in this room, is that no one should be left behind. And what we are doing and what we are saying to the financial sector is that we believe with all of our hearts what you are doing is good for Canada, good for Ontario, good for this city. But in the end, no one should be left behind. Our goals in this election is to bring forward 3 things. First, we believe that more effort and time and money needs to be invested in small business, because they are the generators of a great many, an enormous number of jobs in our economy. And for too long, we believe that they have played second fiddle to larger industries. The second thing is we believe that the tax system should be used to reward those people that create jobs. Not temporary jobs, but long, good, sustaining jobs. Because Everyone in society needs to be the beneficiary of a good job. If we leave people behind, if we give money and no jobs are created, then that simply doesn't work. And last but not least, we need to start looking at manufacturing our own resources, not shipping them offshore, but using them here in Ontario to create those jobs. I look forward to the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prue. Minister Pupatello.
Good morning, everyone, and it is nice to see so many people here. It really does speak to the interest that the financial service sector has in what government is doing, and I believe that, that we do have a role to play as a partner with this industry. I believe that the McGuinty government over the course of the last 8 years has altogether changed how the Ontario government interacts with our business, and I think we've done it well. And I'm going to stand on my own record as Minister of Economic Development and Trade, having the good fortune of reaching out to the financial service sector. We actually launched sectoral tables many years ago that we are now government long enough to get to see the benefit of what happens when you partner directly with a particular sector. Get to learn what it is that it needs to grow and then start to respond. Find out where government has a lever that they can make a difference. When we sat early on with Janet Ecker and her team at TFSA, we learned early that talent was one of those issues. So when you hear McGuinty talk about post-secondary, it's because we've learned from the sectors that we want to see growing here in Ontario what we need to do at the post-secondary level to make a difference there. They told us then, executives across the industry, if we had more people with these skills, we'd hire them. Hence some of our development on the new immigrant side and getting them involved and integrated in our communities quicker when they land, because you need them. When we've gone abroad to sell Ontario, we've done that exclusively with the financial service sector. Missions to various big cities in the U.S. where we've led along with the C-suite from the banking industry, from insurance industries, talking about the great benefit of doing business in Ontario, and that's gone very well. We've gone from the mission to the announcements of enlargements and expansions and landings in Ontario from this sector. Maybe the reason that there's double the number here this time, Janet, is because the industry has grown even through the recession. And I got to tell that story. The benefit of the industry means that infrastructure for businesses there and managed to do much better in Ontario than any other jurisdiction in North America, even through the recession. And it is important. I know it's your business to know what happens in other jurisdictions. People that live in my street, in my neighborhood, don't look necessarily as what's happening elsewhere. But those who can look abroad can see when there's water churning everywhere and the waters are calm in Ontario, it's not by accident. It's a true partnership that we've developed between us and business, and I dare say it's been working. Thanks for having me here this morning.